You sent the message. It didn't go through. You checked another app. Same result. Another one. Gone there too. Now your chest is tight. Your mind is racing. And your ego is screaming that if you could just get one more conversation, one more explanation, one more shot, everything would settle down. But it won't. That's the part you keep refusing to face. Listen carefully. Being blocked everywhere feels like rejection, humiliation, deletion. It feels final. But here's what this really means. Access is gone, not your value. Contact is over, not your existence. And what happens next says far more about you than it does about the person who shut the door. If you know you need these reminders when your emotions get loud and your judgment gets weak, subscribe now because you do not need more noise. You need clarity on demand. You need truth when your mind starts bargaining. You need a voice that pulls you back to your standards before you embarrass yourself chasing closure from someone who already made a decision. Now let's get honest. You think being blocked means you lost? Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes it means the situation was unhealthy. Sometimes it means the other person is protecting their peace. Sometimes it means they're angry. Sometimes it means they're done. But the mistake is thinking the block itself is the whole story. It isn't. The real story is what it reveals in you. Do you collapse the second access disappears? Do you start romanticizing every good memory and deleting every bad one? Do you suddenly call obsession love and panic connection? That's called withdrawal. That's called attachment without discipline. That's called handing your emotional center to someone else and then acting surprised when you can't stand upright without them. And yes, they may still think about you. Of course they might. Human beings do that. People remember intensity. People replay unfinished situations. People miss what they walked away from even when they know walking away was necessary. But don't twist that into a fantasy. Someone thinking about you at night is not the same as someone being right for you. Someone missing you is not the same as someone choosing you. Memory is not commitment. Emotion is not alignment. Chemistry is not character. That's the trap. You're building your self-worth on what might be happening in someone else's head, instead of dealing with what is happening in your own life. You want to know whether you still matter to them? Wrong question. The better question is why you need the answer so badly. Why does your peace depend on being mentally present in the life of someone who physically removed you from it? Why are you measuring your worth by access to a person instead of loyalty to yourself? Because part of you still believes that if they think about you enough, you win. No, you win when you stop needing to win. You win when your habits are stronger than your impulses. You win when you can feel the sting without turning into someone small, needy, manipulative, or desperate. You win when you stop trying to crawl back into rooms that required you to abandon your dignity just to stay inside. Here's where people destroy themselves. They don't accept the boundary, so they start performing pain. Fake accounts, mutual friends, accidental run-ins, long emotional paragraphs they swear are for closure, but are really for one more reaction. That's not love. That's loss of self-command. That's you becoming a servant to a feeling, and feelings make terrible leaders. You don't need one more message. You need one clean decision. Let that land. There's a person out there right now who was blocked 6 months ago. At first, they spiraled, couldn't sleep, checked stories through other accounts, read old messages like they were sacred text. Every day felt like a courtroom where they kept putting themselves on trial. Then something shifted. Not because the other person came back, because they got tired of looking weak in their own eyes. They started training again, reading again, working again, showing up on time, keeping promises to themselves. And slowly, the obsession lost oxygen. Not overnight, but steadily. That's how real change works. Not through a dramatic speech, through repeated acts of self-respect when nobody is clapping. That is the correction you need. Stop asking what the block means about them. Start asking what your reaction means about you. If you are still in their head every night, fine, maybe you are. But what are you doing with that information? If it makes you more disciplined, good. If it reminds you that your impact on people is real, fine. But if it keeps you chained to hope, refreshing screens, living in a courtroom of imagined conversations, then that idea is poison. Because now you're not rebuilding, you're lingering. You're not healing, you're hovering. And hovering kills momentum. Some of you are addicted to emotional leftovers. You don't want the relationship as it truly was. You want the version in your head where everything unresolved gets rewritten in your favor. That's called fantasy. Reality is colder. Reality says if a door closes, your job is not to become a locksmith. Your job is to become a person who no longer begs entry where they are not welcomed. That doesn't mean you become bitter. It means you become clean, clear, hard to shake. You stop confusing intensity with meaning. You stop treating every emotional spike like a sign from the universe. You stop turning mixed signals into a mission. The mature move is not revenge. It is restraint. The mature move is not showing them what they lost. It is becoming someone who no longer lives for being found. And this is the part weak minds hate. Distance is not a strategy to get them back. Distance is how you get yourself back. Silence is not a weapon. It is a filter. It shows you what remains when you are no longer feeding the loop with messages, checking, hoping, replaying, begging, decoding. Without all that noise, truth gets louder. Either the connection had substance or it was running on access and emotional chaos. Either way, clarity serves you. So stop doing the little things that keep you emotionally unemployed. Stop checking if they unblocked you. Stop asking mutuals about them. Stop rereading the best moments while pretending the disrespect never happened. Stop making your pain look poetic. It isn't poetic when it's costing you sleep, focus, confidence, and self-respect. Start building proof. Proof that your life moves without their attention. Proof that your discipline doesn't disappear when your feelings get bruised. Proof that your standards are not speeches, they are behavior. Eat like you respect your body. Train like you plan to be here a long time. Work like your future needs funding. Clean your space. Fix your posture. Handle your business. Learn to sit in discomfort without reaching for distraction or validation. That's called emotional adulthood. Now, answer this without lying to yourself. If they came back tonight, would they meet a stronger you or just the same hungry version with better lines? That question should hit hard because the goal is not to become impressive enough for somebody else to regret losing you. The goal is to become solid enough that whether they regret it or not changes nothing fundamental in your day. That is freedom, not indifference. Freedom. A calm nervous system, a clear mind, a life that is not waiting in the hallway of someone else's decision. Picture the person who truly understands this. They don't announce their healing every week. They don't post cryptic quotes for attention. They don't confuse emotional suppression with strength either. They feel it fully, but they do not kneel to it. They carry themselves with a grounded kind of pride. They answer less impulsively. They move with intention. Their room is in order. Their word means something. Their routines hold when their mood does not. They are not cold. They are centered. They do not need to dominate anyone. They know how to govern themselves. And because of that, they become unforgettable for the right reasons, not the chaotic ones. Be that person. Be the one who can love deeply without losing structure. Be the one who accepts endings without turning them into lifelong identities. Be the one who understands that being remembered is flattering, but being ruled by the need to be remembered is pathetic. Yes, pathetic. Some truths need a sharp edge. You do not need to be cruel to yourself, but you do need to stop coddling the part of you that keeps trading dignity for emotional scraps. Here's the counterintuitive part. The moment you stop trying to stay alive in their mind is often the moment you come fully back to life in your own. Because all that energy you spent wondering, replaying, chasing, and decoding gets released. And when it gets released, it needs a direction. Give it one. Put it into your body, your craft, your money, your faith, your friendships, your standards, your future family, your peace. Make your life so structured that longing has less empty space to echo through. And if they do think about you every night, fine. Let them think. Let memory do what memory does. You are not here to manage another person's inner world. You are here to master your own. That is the whole shift, from chasing to choosing, from fantasy to facts, from attachment to discipline, from how do I get back in to why was I willing to abandon myself just to stay? That question will change your life if you let it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You realize the pain was never only about losing them. It was also about meeting the version of yourself that had no center, no boundaries, no internal authority. Good. Meet that version, then outgrow it. Thank the pain for the lesson and refuse to keep paying tuition. You are not the blocked person anymore. You are the person who learned what access was costing. You are the person who stopped romanticizing instability. You are the person who turned rejection into refinement. You are the person who can walk away from what pulls you out of alignment, even if part of you still cares, especially then. So, hold your line. Keep your hands off the keyboard when your emotions spike. Keep your eyes off the windows that only pull you backward. Keep your word to yourself, day by day, decision by decision, quietly, relentlessly, until your presence is no longer something you beg others to validate, but something you embody without permission. And if you want a place that keeps pulling you back to truth, clarity, and growth when your mind starts slipping into fantasy, subscribe. Stay close to people who choose self-respect over self-betrayal, discipline over drama, and real transformation over empty comfort. That is your circle now. That is your standard. And that is who you are becoming.